Jesse No.
I thank the Leader very much for the business, and I know the whole House will want to join me in thinking of the victims of the earthquakes in Venezuela, of which we've just had news, and of course the victims of the train crash in Bedford, and of course the victims of what now have been deemed aggravated terrorism-related attacks in Edinburgh. It's been a difficult week, Mr. Speaker, but on a brighter note, I'm sure all will want to join me in celebrating Armed Forces Week and thanking all the men and women across this country and abroad who serve His Majesty in the Armed Forces. And a matter of particular interest, I remind the House, in Herefordshire. Mr. Speaker, we weep for the Scotland football team, but perhaps less so for Peter Murrell, who began a 5-year sentence this week for theft and embezzlement. The Scottish Police asked him in 2024, what does the SNP need over £19,000 of luxury pens for? Quite a good question. One might ask the same of a Jaguar I-Pace, a state-of-the-art motorhome, a men's slouch pouch onesie, whatever that is. I'm not looking for guidance from the chair on this matter. Mr. Speaker, the real question is not just whether Nicola Sturgeon knew or should have known of these thefts, including the sudden appearance of a £2,500 Lalique salt and pepper set on the kitchen table. It's about the culture and probity of a Scottish government that still refuses to appoint a KC to lead an independent inquiry. And while we're on the topic of vehicles, Mr. Speaker, the leader of Reform UK has publicly reserved the right to spend the £5 million donation, definitely not related to politics, from his Thailand-based crypto billionaire on Ferraris if he wishes. It appears that none of that money has been spent on personal security from what he said, and he's now been referred to the Financial Conduct Authority alongside the current investigation by the Commissioner on Standards. And so to the government. Mr. Speaker, I know the House will share my sadness at the tragic decision by the leader not to stand in the Labour leadership election, resulting in a coronation, alas, of the member for Makerfield, and I'm sad to say the rather tawdry sides of Cabinet Ministers trailing their coats. Once again, we can only regret that decision not to throw his hat into the ring. But I simply ask, what is the government's policy on the Defence Investment Plan? The Prime Minister wants to publish it now, his successor wants a delay, but a Defence Investment Plan that may be reopened within weeks is not a plan. It is a hanging IOU with a NATO deadline attached. Mr. Speaker, I turn now to a matter of the greatest sensitivity, the case of Lucy Letby, members of whose family are my constituents. It is essential to respect the independence of the judiciary in this matter. Nor, crucially, must we ever lose sight of the suffering of the families whose babies died or were gravely injured. But I believe there is also a proper public concern here as to the security of the verdict. Since the convictions, a number of serious and reputable people have raised concerns about the expert scientific and statistical evidence in this case, both the evidence presented to the jury and the evidence that the jury never saw. Those concerns come from neonatologists, pathologists, statisticians, and most recently from Dame Sue Black, one of the country's most distinguished forensic scientists. Like me, Dame Sue makes no claim as to whether Lucy Letby is innocent or guilty, but she has said in measured terms that she is troubled by the conviction and by the apparent lack of forensic evidence. When someone of her public scientific standing speaks in these terms, I do not think the issue she raises can be properly avoided. Her and other expert concerns raise profound questions as to the fairness of the trial and indeed about the status of the evidential test used by the CCRC in considering whether to reopen it. I remind the House that there were no witnesses, no CCTV footage, no forensic evidence, and no confession in this case. Everything, therefore, depended on the testimony of experts. But when it came to the defence, in the words of Dame Sue Black, there were no medical or statistical experts put forward at all. I'd also highlight that Lucy Letby had had a prior complaint against the consultants in the hospital. This was upheld after a detailed investigation and report, which found there was absolutely nothing to prevent her returning to work and that the doctors had bullied and harassed her. This evidence, too, was never heard by the jury. The Thirlwell inquiry into the Countess of Chester Hospital has yet to publish its final report, despite many delays. But yesterday's Nottingham University Hospital's report is a powerful reminder that in neonatal and maternity settings, grave harm can arise not only from individual malfeasance, but also from systematic clinical failure. If I may conclude, the Criminal Cases Review Commission is now considering the Letby case. May I ask?
Please. I have a load of time. It is a minute over. All I would say is, please, can you conclude now?
I think it's unfortunate that I was not allowed to conclude in the terms that I did.
We will leave it at that. Can I, Leader of the House? I'm not going to be challenged. I am not going to be challenged like that. I think that's totally unfair. I gave a full minute. I allowed you to continue. I was going to allow you to come back. I would have expected better from the Shadow Leader of the House to challenge the Chair in that way. I've never had that before. Leader of the House.